I first of all just want to talk regarding showing you some of the integration that exists between KCPOS with Sage 50. And the reality is that Sage 50 remains the central point for all of the core data. So things like customers, stock items, pricing, discount structures, customer specific prices, quantity breaks, all of those exist within Sage 50, and the KCPOS till system will recognize and read that information and use it. So if we look at Sage 50 now, we have our list of customers here. And again, where we have customers that are set up, for instance, with a discount group for quantity break or a specific price list, or with a credit limit, we'll cover that in a short while. These information is all taken and posted over into the KCPOS system for it to work with. If I look at the products that exists within the Sage system, we have our list of stock items, products, pricing, quantity that's in stock. Again, this information is taken over and posted across into the KCPOS till system. If I switch over to the KCPOS till system now, what we can actually see within there is we have the ability to be able to see our till interface, and at the bottom we have our custom menus. These menus are menus that you as users and administrators of the system can configure and set up, and these can be set up to drill down into other menus and other options. They can also be set up to show images and so on if you wish. If I, for instance, just type in our product code of board 001, which has come from our Sage 50, when I select that, that will show us on the screen our physical stock item that we have there at its list price of £25. If I flick back to our Sage, that will show us our list price is £25 and our description is whiteboard. If I was to go back now to our till and just remove that off of the transaction for a moment, to show the level of integration that we have with the KCPOS till and the Sage system, if I was to edit this stock item and give this a new description, so that it's now got a new description, then what will happen is this information will be taken literally within a few moments of the editing of the records and set up and pushed across into the KCPOS till system. Now this can be whether it be the description, the pricing, adding a new stock item into Sage 50, any of that information, changing the tax code, all of that will get pushed across into the till. So if I now switch back to the till and find that item again, what we will see is that now has this new description that I've just given it of the new for the description that's gone. So again, that's an integration that's constantly happening in the background and constantly pushing that information from the Sage 50 into the tills itself. If I take this stock item now and I just complete this as a standard sale, then what I will do is I will take that, I will go onto the tender screen, and on this tender screen I can take the payment. You will notice that originally when I was on the actual main screen, this was a £25 for this item. When I go to the tender screen, it's actually moved to 30, and the reason being is we have a £5 VAT. So this till is configured in what's known as a trade counter mode, where as you add the products, the prices are shown exclusive of VAT, but when you go to the tender screen, it shows them inclusive. The tills can also be configured in a retail mode where they show always VAT inclusive pricing. It can work either way. With this transaction now, I'm going to take tender, and with tender I can take payments in any way that I wish. So I can configure multiple different tenders, i.e. card, cash, check, gift vouchers, variety of different stuff, and I can take multiple tenders on the same transaction. So I could take £5 worth of cash and the rest of it is going on card. So we can mix and match with the tenders, have multiple on there if we wish. I'm just going to pay it all in cash for now. I'll accept that. At this point, it would now normally print us out a physical thermal receipt if we wanted one. We're now ready to go on to the next transaction. What we will now do is we will now look and we will see that that transaction within a few moments will actually go through, post into the Sage system and appear on the till account within Sage 50 sales ledger for that physical sales ledger account. So what I'll do is we'll go over and we'll have a look at that transaction now to be able to see what's happening with it. So if we scroll down to our invoices and credits, what we should now see that there is this transaction for £30, which I double click on and open, has just come for our item 1 at 25 plus £5 VAT, which gives us our total. And on the payment screen, we should then see that that's been paid and allocated at the same time. So it's all come through from the till, fully automatically post in with the stock items and so on, automatically into the Sage system. If we go back to the till itself, we can also have a look at, for instance, some of the account sales style transactions. So again, if I was to put in the board 001, it will show me and it's at £25. If I now went to an account that I've got set up that's got a customer specific price, when I accept that, we'll now see that that price is now changed to £22.30. This is because within the Sage system, this customer's account has been configured for this product to get it at £22.30. So it's a very, very automated process. You don't have to remember who's got special prices or anything like that. The till system will remember that automatically. Because we're also doing this as a account sale, when we then post this into the Sage system, this transaction will get posted against their account. If they have credit terms with us, then we will be able to put this onto their account. For instance, if I go through into the tender and go as if I'm going to put this on account and I accept this, the system will now warn me that they're actually over their credit limit already. And user permissions within the KCPOS system can be configured to either allow or disallow users to override this setting. So if you're a manager user, you may want to allow this to happen and go through and take this tender of this transaction to go through. We can take a transactional reference to be able to say who came in for it, for instance, or a purchase order number that's going with that transaction. And that allows us to do an account sale to a physical account. Now, what we may also do, again, if I look at the board 001, but if I now go to an account that's set up slightly different and look at this one, it's still got the item at £25 as being its standard price. However, if I was to do a quantity of 10 of these, then we will see that the price is now changed to 200 because this customer's got a quantity break set up of this stock item at a quantity of 10 to receive them at £20 each rather than the 25. So all of this information is all being controlled and all centrally done from within the actual Sage system. It's not controlled by KCPOS, or you haven't got to set it up in Sage and in KCPOS. Both systems are setting it up and doing exactly the same transactions from there and using that same data. We can also, if I take this transaction off just for one moment, we can also do, for instance, a sales order. So I could go in and I want to order some items. And what I want to do is I want to put those to an account, let's say this account. But this customer, well, let's say we don't have this product in stock and we're going to order it for this customer in. So we don't want this to raise as a physical invoice. We want to raise this as a sales order into the Sage system so that we can back order it, get the goods in and notify the customer. So with that, when we go to the tender screen, we can either A, take payment for it or a partial payment. But what we can also do is we can also save as order. And the save as order option will now take this transaction and post this into Sage as a sales order rather than actually an invoice. And we also can optionally capture a delivery address as well if we want to, if we were going to deliver this out separately from there. So I'll put this onto account, post that, I'll give it a purchase order number of what I'm using, on it goes from there. So those transactions will now be able to take those, go across into the Sage system, see them appear in Sage, and watch from there to actually see those transactions, how each different transaction type has come through to the system. Okay, so let's jump over into the Sage system now and have a look at the sales order tab. So if we now get a list of our sales order, we should be able to see our new order that we've placed today for our 30, which should be for our product that we've ordered. As we can see, come through straight, no problem at all. Same goes from our invoice screen. We should then have an invoice that's come through that we did, that's come through at their own special prices that they had the £22.30 at. It's come through and it's posted. So all of those transactions are happening automatically within the system. Now, the KCPOS system can be configured to, like my system is, continually poll, literally, every minute, every 15 minutes, however you want it to be set up in that respect. Or it can be set up to be specific times a day, i.e. 9 o'clock in the morning, midday, 5 o'clock at night. Or it may just be that you want to post them once a day, 10 o'clock at night, post the transactions in, and you can post them in either one at a time, or you can consolidate them all together and make a batch transaction posting for all transactions per till per day, for instance. So they will take you through and they will give you those transactions that's gone on from there.